Hi Greedy 3Ders, Uniformation have very kindly sent me some of their X13 resin, their proprietary resin to test, and I'm not only going to use it today in one of their machines, and I'm going to use it today in the GK3 Ultra. I'm also going to be using it in the HeyGears Ultracraft Reflex RS to see how this Uniformation resin performs in the HeyGears printer. It's quite interesting. Stay tuned. So let's get this resin in. I'm going to test it on two printers today, starting off with a Uniformation machine, the GK3 Ultra. Now it's probably about -1 in the man cave, so this stuff has turned very gloopy, but I'm going to pop it into the GK3 Ultra. This, as I said earlier, has been sent to me by Uniformation to test, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing how we get on in both this machine and the HeyGears Ultracraft Reflex RS. Now obviously, because I'm using Uniformation machine, I've got a list of the settings that are ideal for this, with especially the exposure time that I've set to 2.5 seconds. I haven't bothered running a RERF test because it's Uniformation own resin, and 2.5 seconds seems to be a good starting point. I'm going to be doing the Hell Creator Lizard from Spider-Man. I'm a member of their Patreon, and this is a wonderful model. I am using the GK3 Ultra build plate to its max, filling it up with Mr. Kurt Connors, or Dr. Kurt Connors, and as I say, I'm just going to change the exposure time to 2.5 seconds. There's the rest of the settings if you want to have a look at them. And around about 4 hours later-ish, 5 hours later, Kurt Connors, the lizard, has printed wonderfully. No failures, everything has come out perfectly. I can't fault the GK3 Ultra. I've said this before in another video. I know we've had some issues with them and other people have had some issues, but mine has been golden from day one. All of the resin came off the build plate wonderfully without any issues. Now I'm washing it in my Elegoo wash station, the Mercury Plus, and giving it a good old swilling IPA there. Then I'm going to dip it in some hot water to loosen all those supports, giving it a soak in some very hot water. It's not boiling, but it's very hot for a few minutes, and the supports fell off, just oozed off and left very little divot behind, which is always a help, isn't it? You're always going to have to do some cleanup, of course you are. That is the very nature of resin printing, but on the whole I'm really pleased with how little this stuff has left on my models after soaking it in a little bit of hot water. I particularly like the base on this, and I like the fact with the Ultra as well that you can fit absolutely everything in one build plate. Printed at 100%, the lizard is done and looks wonderful. Let's have a closer look at him. Been cured for around about 10 minutes, and I've just blue tacked him together just so you can have a look. There's still a little bit of cleanup needs doing on him, of course there is. He's not finished, and there's some support still in the nooks and crannies of the base, but you can see that everything is printed wonderfully. The only thing that hasn't come out is his badge. Now that's probably me not even knowing that was there and being a bit heavy-handed with the cleanup, but I'm not too fussed about his badge because he's a lizard, he's a monster. It's probably just fell off, and I can always make something if I want to. So on the whole, I would say it's printed beautifully. I love the detail in this Hell Creator model. It's gorgeous, isn't it? I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup on it, of course. I'm going to get all the support settings and nubbins off there, but there's not a huge amount to do, and the way I orientated it was to keep the supports in places you won't see them anyway, so no real dramas. I will be showing you the end result of this in a forthcoming video, but just a couple of close-ups for you. I think you'll agree with me that the quality of this resin on the GK3 Ultra has proved its worth. It looks lovely. Look at the detail in those scaly legs. That's wonderful, isn't it? I will put a link in the description where you can get this from. It's going to be an affiliate link, so a little bit will kick back to the channel if you buy this resin through that. But hey, I don't care whether you buy it through me or not. It's not about that. It's just a case of you making sure you know where to get it from. Next one, as I said earlier, I'm going to be printing this in the Ultracraft Reflex RS by HeyGears. I'm going to be using the PARP 10 setting, but just to make sure that it's worked okay, I've done a little Frozen XP test, and I'm going to give that a clean, and look at that. I cannot fault this again. No settings to be played with, no messing. The RS just astounds me all the picking time. It's done a wonderful job, not overexposed, not underexposed. Look at the lettering on that. It's absolutely beautiful. So the PARP 10 setting is what I'm going to be using to make my model with it. And I'm going to do another Hell Creator model. This time it's the Indiana Jones model that's literally just come out. Now I'm going to print the main body of him on the RS, and because the base is huge, I'll do it on the GK3 Ultra just to make life a little bit easier. Now the other thing that I'm going to do with this is just change the support settings. I'm going to go into advanced settings and change sphere to none. That should reduce some of the little marks and pits that are left by the supports. A few hours later and I've returned to the RS, and I like what I see. Everything has printed. I've had no failures. Everything looks good. The change to the support settings has made no real issue or problem with the printing. Now obviously getting this off the build plate is going to be a little bit of a test. Let's see how easy or hard it comes off, and happy again to report that things not only slide off, but just look at those Indiana Jones legs there. That's the difference the support has made. The change to the settings, they literally are just falling away. So it's held it really well through the printing process. But when it comes to removal of the supports, which I'll show you in a little bit, everything has gone swimmingly. Now I'm happy with what I can see here. Everything looks clean. Everything looks crisp. Everything is printed wonderfully. I'm going to soak everything in some hot water again, just to make sure that it's had a final clean and that everything gets the supports come off easy. Going back to the GK3 Ultra, I printed the base on this, and the reason I did this was I upped it to 150% and I filled the build plate again with the GK3 Ultra using this X13 resin. There is something about a full build plate that's quite it's really sexy for a 3D printer, isn't it? And I'm happy to say that the GK3 Ultra using the X13 has done a wonderful job. If I'm being critical, and it's always good to be honest, I found the X13 on this print to be a little bit brittle. There's some plants, they look like some leaves of some kind. A couple of them broke off. It wasn't a massive issue, so I'm not going to make a massive issue of it, but it was a little bit brittle. And I'm going to glue them back on, and no real dramas, I guess. Going back to Indiana Jones that I printed on the RS, as you saw there, the supports just literally fall away. It's a wonderful feeling getting the supports off like that. This hot water technique and the change to the ends of the supports to none from cones really has made support removal a dream. Just watch this. Just look how detailed that part is, and everything just comes away. It's an absolute pleasure to de-support these models. And let's just have a look at Indiana up close. Detail wise, smoothness wise, I can't fault that. The Ultracraft Reflex RS is a wonderful printer, wonderful printer. We're going to need to do a little bit of cleanup on it, of course we are. Nothing is 100% perfect, but you can see the detail in there. You can see some of the finer points, the smoothness. It looks really lovely, and I'm really happy with how it's come out. There's a couple of marks on there, as you can see, like scratches almost. So I do think this resin is a little bit weaker maybe than other resin. I haven't got throwing it around to break it, but it does mark relatively easy. And like I say, there were a little bit of problems with some of the leaves on the other parts, but I don't think I've got a problem with this resin. I'm happy with it. I think it looks really lovely. It's printed great. There's a couple of layer lines on there, but again, it's a 3D print. You're going to have to do a little bit of work, but I'm happy that the supports are virtually minimal. I'm happy that it's all printed. I'm happy that the detail on both printers has given us a wonderful outcome. There are the supports from the RS on Indy, and you can see that there's not much to them. They're going to need a clean up. They're going to need a bit of a sand, and they're going to go away really easy and quickly. Your sort of how you support it is key here. You don't want some of the main areas showing, but for a place like that, a few little bits of sandpaper later and they'll have gone all away. I'm happy with that. I think the X13 test has been an overall success, with both printers performing admirably. I'm a simple 3D printer. Like a lot of you out there, all I want to know is, does the resin actually print? Does it give satisfactory details? Does it look good? Does it work? Is it hard? Does it leave sticky residue on it. All the questions you want to know are the things that I want to know. Now, I'm not going to go into massive detail with you here, but what I am going to say is that from my experience of using the X13 on both printers, and more importantly, I would have expected it to work on the Uniformation machines flawlessly, and all the settings are there, and you saw that it did the lizard beautifully. The Ultracraft Reflex RS, using the PARP 10 profile, this X13 resin is wonderful and has done, you saw it in Indiana Jones model, it's done a wonderful model for me. The detail is there, the smoothness is there, everything's good. On a critical perspective, if I'm being critical here, some of the smaller areas, like the rope on Indiana Jones, like the leaves on the trees on the base, when I was taking the supports off, some of them broke off. Now, okay, was it the fact that I've soaked them in hot water which has weakened them? Was it the fact that it's a little bit brittle? Was it the fact that I was a bit heavy-handed? The jury's out a little bit, because everything else has worked flawlessly. I would suggest, from my experience, that the resin does seem to be a little bit brittle, and that's not just aimed at the RS, it's also aimed at the GK3 Ultra as well. So I don't think it's anything to do with the printer. I do believe the resin is a little bit more brittle than some of the ABS resins, and it certainly doesn't feel particularly flexible. I'd put it on par with kind of basic Sunlu for me, in that, you know, it looks lovely, it prints well, but if you drop it, it's probably going to smash. You know, that is the realism of it. But look, we don't go around purposely dropping our models, do we? If you want a decent resin, something that you know is going to give you good results, then I don't see any problems in recommending the X13 resin at this stage. I've printed a couple of models on it. The big base for the Indiana Jones was a great one, and keep an eye out, I'll be making that in a future video. I'm also going to be making the lizard in a future video, but both of those models have come out to my expectations, and I'm happy with them both. If you like what you see on this channel, please do us a couple of favours. Subscribe to the channel. Think about joining the Greedy 3D Patreon. I really would like you to leave a comment below where YouTube allows you to leave a comment, just to tell me what you think. Have you tried the X13? What do you think about it? Is it good? Is it bad? Have you had any problems with it? What do you think about the video? Do you agree with what I've found? Do you disagree? It's all about communication, and it's all about the community working together. So I'll be really interested to know what you guys think about it. I want to just say thank you to my Patreons. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for supporting me. Also, thank you to Uniformation for sending me the resin to test and play with. And I've got some more resins in the pot from other companies that I'm going to be testing in. I'll test it in the GK3 Ultra, in the Mars by Elegoo. I'm going to throw them for sure in the RS to see if everything works with them. But that's what we'll be doing moving forward, testing some new resins. Let me know if there's anything you want me to print. Let me know if there's anything you want me to do with it. And if you want to get hold of anything that you see today, the resins, for example, I'll put a link down below. Depending on when you're watching this video, the Ultracraft Reflex RS are having a sale from the 14th to the 24th of January. They're knocking the prices down, and if you follow my link, and it is an affiliate link, so a little bit will kick back, but if you follow that link, you'll get an extra $50 off the price of an RS or a combo. All the prices will be in that link, so have a look. If you buy it, you buy it. If you don't buy it, you don't buy it, but at least if you're thinking about it, might save you a few quid. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on Greedy 3D, and we'll be making the lizard and Indiana Jones in some forthcoming videos. We'll be painting them all up, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Hit the like button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. See you next time.